slide in here. Just slide right in there.
Hey friends, Ash here. Welcome back to Gents. How are you? Just because we're in the middle of winter, at least when I'm filming this in the northern hemisphere. If you're in the southern hemisphere, hope you're enjoying your summer. But just because it's winter where I am and just because it's cold doesn't mean that I can't still smell fresh. I feel like fresh fragrances are the introduction to fragrances in general for like 90% of people out there. Basically, when people start looking up scents for the first time, most people are like, what's a good aquatic? What is a nice fragrance that smells like water? And then you kind of go on from there. So today's agenda is talking about some fresh fragrances that will work anywhere. Fragrances with that freshness unlocked, ones that you're gonna spray on, smell like $1,000,000. Are they better suited for spring and summertime? Oh yeah. But as I've said a million times, fresh fragrances, summertime fragrances, will often smell great in the cold. So let's check these out. Before we jump into the fragrances, it's code time. Gents10 is the code, the coupon code for twistedlily.com and maxaroma.com, which will save you. It will bless you with 10% off your order. And then if you shop at luckyscent.com, you can use the code GENTS2022. Same deal, 10% off your order. Okay, let's delve into these. They'll all be linked in the description in case you want to check them out, along with some stamps, timestamps. People have like the TikTok brain nowadays. If there's no timestamp, they're like, you mean I have to sit through this video? No, give me timestamps. Click. All right, here we go. First up, Tom Ford Neroli Portofino. Neroli Portofino, one of the more well-known fragrances from the Private Blend line. This one very soapy, very clean. It has a citrus touch to it. Of course, Neroli does have a citrus scent profile to it. It's expensive because it is a Tom Ford. And yes, there are alternatives out there that cost less that will smell similar to this. Something like Mugler cologne, that would work well. Also 4711, kind of a budget form, a budget take on Neroli Portofino. And yes, I'm aware 4711 came first, okay? 4711 does have terrible performance, but it's an eau de cologne and it's made to be kind of just a refreshing pick-me-up. Neroli Portofino, not amazing performance, but better than that at least. Very classy fragrance. This one works really well, of course, during spring and summertime. Wonderful office fragrance also. From there, let's do this one. Cartier Declaration Haute Fraîcheur. This, I think, smells awesome. I really like it. It's green, kind of vegetal, fresh, a little sweet. Does have a cleanliness to it. There's a lot to love about the fragrance. The only thing that kind of holds this one back is the performance. It's not great, but I do love how this smells so much. Like, this is an exquisite, perfect spring and summertime fragrance if you can overlook the lack of performance. You could do some black magic to try to make this work a little bit better as far as performance goes. By that I mean actually just spray yourself with it more, spray your clothes, spray your hair, spray inside your ears, just spray everywhere. Alternatively, and less weirdly, you could apply like some non-scented, unscented, they say, moisturizer, some lotion, put this over top. And that one does actually smell really good in the cold, like very nice. But unfortunately, it gets dampened by the cold weather even more than during the summer. Still though, it'll work anywhere as long as you can smell it. Let's kick it on over to Acqua di Gio Eau de Parfum next from Giorgio Armani. Truthfully, about any Acqua di Gio you could put in this list. This one has that bit of citrus, that green edge to it. Of course, the aquatic notes, a little bit of a minerality, kind of a sea saltiness. Maybe you would call it a slightly more grown up, more mature, modern take on the original Acqua di Gio, with a bit of an Acqua di Gio Profondo vibe to it as well. Since we're talking Acqua di Gio, let's talk about this one up next. Azzaro Chrome Eau de Parfum. I know what you're thinking. Azzaro Chrome is not Acqua di Gio, man. You are correct. But Azzaro Chrome Eau de Parfum does have a little bit of a similarity to Acqua di Gio Profondo Lights, which is kind of funny when you think about it, because the bottles have kind of a similar gradient going on, which is made even funnier when you think that Chrome Extreme has kind of a similarity to Acqua di Gio Profondo in terms of how it smells, and they have a bit of a similar color too. I truly don't know if that's all intentional or just coincidence, but it's pretty funny. So yeah, Chrome Eau de Parfum, a little bit similar to Profundo Lights. This is not a hyper complex fragrance, but it's very wearable. It's another one that has a nice citrus touch, kind of an aquatic vibe to it. This one has more of a green woodiness as it dries down. Not a hyper realistic note of pine in here, but it still does get across that kind of vibe, that idea. Nice sweetness here as well, extremely wearable. Chrome Eau de Parfum, even if it's not the most interesting, unique thing on earth, is a fantastic everyday wear fragrance that people gravitate toward. Let's keep it cheap with Jimmy Choo Man Intense up next. So Jimmy Choo Man Intense, this does have a similarity to Jimmy Choo Man that came before it, although, and hold on to your horses here, hold on to your seats, your mind is about to be blown. Jimmy Choo Man Intense, kind of like a ramped up version of Jimmy Choo Man. I know, that's just what? Jimmy Choo Man Intense is like Jimmy Choo Man, but with more intensity? How is it possible? So while this one is fresh, it's got a good amount of tonka in there, which gives it a little more warmth, a little more sweetness, more of like a vanilla kind of sweetness as compared to a lot of these other ones that have more of kind of a fruity sweetness to them. It also has lavender in there, giving it a bit of a classically masculine touch. And then it has melon off the top. So a more interesting open there compared to your more typical grapefruit or bergamot. Let's hop from that one to Lacoste. Lacoste is great for freshies. Like, you can always count on Lacoste to at least do a passable freshie. That doesn't sound like the highest praise, but for real, like if you're looking for something for spring or summertime, you can count on Lacoste to get the job done in at least a good enough way that you're gonna smell pretty nice. But they do have some that stand out a bit more than others, the ones that you actually wanna seek out, the ones that are gonna take you and elevate your fragrance game. This is one of those, it's one of the good ones, Lacoste L1212 Blanc Eau de Parfum. And depending on where you look, you might see this referred to as L1212 White. So if you're looking at L1212 White or Blanc Eau de Parfum, that's the one we're talking about. You can also tell because it has this little pattern on the front of the bottle that you won't find on the normal Eau de Toilette. This one has kind of a green vibe to it, green notes, a green twist, whatever you want to call it. Has kind of an aromatic flair to it. Very clean, as you would expect, once again with Lacoste. And it has finger lime in the top as compared to your more typical bergamot grapefruit like I mentioned before. This one has a little bit more versatility than the Eau de Toilette because it does have a little more class to it. So that gives it more usability in situations like the office while still maintaining that everyday wear sensibility. Up next, Chanel Allure Homme Sport. Yeah, Allure Homme Sport. What can you say? This one is not really, at least to me, a full-on sport fragrance because it does have a creamy citrus to it, which is quite pronounced when you compare it up against some of these other citruses. It is not as zingy, not as sparkly. It still smells great. Don't get me wrong. The sweetness here is awesome. The tonka as it dries down, very appealing. Good performance, better than a lot of the other fragrances here actually. But don't think of this as just a gym fragrance. You know, it's not just a high heat outdoor situation fragrance and nothing else. No. This stuff really, you can wear year round easily, actually. Solid compliment puller. Gets overlooked a little bit nowadays. You know, it's not its heyday anymore. It's not its prime. It still works really well. Since we did Chanel, Dior up next. Dior Homme Sport. And this is the new iteration of Dior Homme Sport because there have been multiple iterations of Dior Homme Sport at this point. This one has no iris. So, yeah. For some people, that's a good thing. For other people, not nice. This is more similar to Dior Homme 2020. Of course, the new version of Dior Homme that focuses more on fresh spice and woodiness. So this is basically like taking that Dior Homme 2020 DNA and reworking it, freshening it up. Really pleasant opening here with citrus mixing together with kind of an aldehydic vibe. The new Dior Homme Sport I actually like a lot. So if you enjoy Dior Homme 2020, but you wish that it was a little bit easier to pull off in high heat situations, check this out. And this is another one that realistically I think you can wear year round without too much issue. Although again, if you like that kind of vibe that it has, then you would maybe go for Dior Homme 2020 in the dead of winter, unless you're just trying to get that freshness going on. After that, a fragrance that is similar to a Dior, but not Dior Homme. No, this one is similar to Dior's Sauvage, and it is Cool Water Parfum from Davidoff. Now, when you look at the official note breakdown here, there's not a whole heck of a lot to it. Lemon, pink pepper, vetiver, sandalwood. And looking at that note breakdown, you'd probably never think Sauvage, because Sauvage is well known for ambroxan, bergamot, pepper. But yeah, this is definitely inspired by Sauvage. It falls into that family alongside things like Luna Rossa Carbon. Maybe it doesn't bash you over the head quite as much with that ambroxan-y type feel, but it will do the same job that Sauvage does. So if you're looking for something that's extremely versatile, compliment pulling, basically a year-round type fragrance with good freshness, Cool Water Parfum should be on your list to try out. And then last but certainly not least, Yves Saint Laurent's Y Eau de Toilette. This is the reworked, reimagined, reformulated version of YEDT. This one is close to perfect for being a year-round type of scent. And when I say that, I do mean as a jack of all trades type fragrance. Like if there was somebody out there who just really didn't care that much for fragrances and they wanted one that they could just reach for in about any situation that they're going to find themselves in, this would be a great choice. It has that freshness and sweetness combination that so many people gravitate toward. It's classy enough that you could wear it in more formal situations or business situations, but it's also not so formal that it's going to smell out of place if you're just hanging out with friends or with loved ones or going on a date even. So YEDT, jack of all trades fragrance. And if we're talking one of the Y line that does freshness well along with versatility, I would point to YEDT before I would YO Fresh. So that will do it for me, friends. Fresh fragrances that smell amazing wherever you're going to find yourself. Thank you for hanging with me. Stay safe out there. I'll see you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys later.